Statistically speaking, every man, woman, and child in the world now has their own podcast. Podcasts give everyone who has something to say a platform to say it on. And even if people have nothing to say, podcasts allow them to say a lot of it for at least an hour at a time. I'm someone who loves to hear myself talk about what I want to talk about. And because I'm a podcaster, people love to hear me incoherently ramble about inconsequential nothings. The purpose of a podcast is for me to confidently barf my opinions onto other people. Delivering value or unique perspective is not the task at hand. People who talk all the time are just making noise, or people who talk all the time while recording it are making podcasts. This gives my audience the payoff of never having to experience their own thoughts, because their brains are constantly flooded with my voice. That's why podcasting is the greatest invention since they figured out how to slice gluten-free bread. As a podcaster, I firmly believe that people would rather think about my thoughts instead of thinking about their own thoughts. I podcast all day, every day, because the world needs me to. Sometimes I interview someone with a list of premeditated questions while bringing zero personality or conversationality to the conversation. And sometimes I like to have a friend on my podcast so we can talk about inside references from our lives while being oblivious to the fact that our audiences won't understand what we're talking about. Plus, I like to have someone to interrupt while I'm podcasting. My audience gets to experience me begging them to leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and they get to hear me read 10 minutes worth of advertising about my favorite set of custom underwear that I've never even worn. I've also discovered that the key to podcast growth is to get a lot of famous people on my show that my audience has probably already heard on 100 other shows. I like to talk about current events on my podcast. Having my heated opinions go totally uncontested by my muted audience helps me feel more righteously confident in my perspectives. I think we can both agree that podcasts are the best thing that's ever happened to the world, but the world needs more podcasts, especially mine. I know. That's why I'm launching my own podcast, the Awaken with JP series show. It's live now. Now here's what you can expect from my show. Every week I'll be releasing episodes where I'm having a connected conversation with a fascinating guest. Some of them you'll know of. Other guests, there'll be gems that you've never heard of before, but I think you'll want to follow them because they're all going to be fascinating, inspiring, expansive people. Now make no mistake, my podcast isn't going to just be a comedy show. My guests and I will be talking about meaningful stuff so you can live a more awakened life. We'll talk about the challenges we've been through, how we've overcome them. We'll talk about what inspires us and what fascinates us. I think it'll fascinate you too. And I will just be myself. So of course there's going to be some comedy in there as well. So here's what I would love to ask you to do. Go onto iTunes or wherever your favorite place is to hunt and gather podcasts. Go on the Awaken with JP series show, subscribe, leave me a 5-star review, and listen to the first episode. If you like it, keep coming back. I'd love to have you. Talk to you soon.